Hello. In this video, I want to talk a little bit more about the skills of being an MC or compere. In previous videos, I've talked about how you need to be a friend to the audience, to the speakers, and to the event organizer. Now we're going to talk about a very specific skill, and this is one of the ones that I think really marks out those people who know what they're doing as an MC and those who are just winging it. And that's introducing people, because you will have to introduce your speakers, or your guests, or whoever else is coming onto the stage. And you need to build them up. You need to give them a really good introduction that sets them up to do well. And you need to prime your audience, because apart from anything else, you want them to give this person a round of applause as they walk onto the stage. So the introduction. Now, sometimes you may have been given an introduction for somebody, particularly if they're a professional speaker or they're somebody who speaks regularly. They may well have provided a written introduction, in which case, read it verbatim. Don't start editing it or trying to add in your own jokes. If you think there is something in there that you're going to trip over, or maybe it's a bit too long, you can edit and rewrite, but you must get the speaker's permission before you do that, or before you use that, because there may well be something in that introduction that sets up their opening line or even their opening story. It's happened to me where somebody made up an introduction for me and they basically blew the punchline of my opening gag. And it got me off to a really weak start because I suddenly had to rewrite on the fly. So yeah, if they give you an introduction, ideally read it verbatim and practice it. Make sure you can deliver it with a great deal of energy. But the golden rule, if you are introducing anybody, but particularly if you're writing an introduction for someone, is that you shouldn't mention their name until the last two words of the introduction. This is because the introduction really should build. It should build expectation as you move towards the end, and it's please welcome this person. And it means you can put a real energy behind that name. Whereas if you've started the introduction with, this person has done this, this, and this, and today they're going to talk about that, that, and that, and this is what we're going to take away, please welcome this person, we've heard their name already, so it doesn't have the same punch. So start the introduction with our first speaker today, or our next speaker, or our last speaker, or whatever. And then you give the introduction, and then you build their name, and you punch that name with some energy, and that should generate a round of applause, which gets that speaker on to a really energetic reception. Now, the introduction, as you write it, needs to do a couple of things. It needs to say, who is this person? Why should you listen to them? What are they going to talk about? And why are they credible to talk about that? And what are you going to get out of it? Which is really why you should listen. Now, each of those can be short and sharp. In fact, should really be only a sentence at most. But this person is from this position, or maybe has this accolade behind them. Today, they're going to talk about this topic. And we are going to learn 3 ways to do X, Y, and Z, for example. So who they are, why they are, what they're talking about, and why they're good to talk about it, and what we're going to take away as an audience. And those 3 things are important because they build the credibility. They tell us what we're going to get, and they're going to give us a motivation to listen. So it's a really standard way to structure an introduction, but it should always build towards those last 2 words being the speaker's name. Hope that helps. If you've got any queries about it, drop me an email, steve@stevebustin.com. I'm always happy to look over an introduction if you're not quite sure what to do with it. If you found this via YouTube, then by all means subscribe to my email newsletter in the description below. If you came to this via the newsletter, then while you're here on YouTube, please do hit the subscribe and the bell button so that you get notified of all my future content. Great to see you. See you next time.